A woman's hand trembles as she grips the edge of a mahogany table. Her voice cuts through the noise of crystal glasses and formal laughter. These are your children. Two small faces stare at a man who has never seen them before, at a man who abandoned their mother without knowing she carried his blood. The room freezes. Power, reputation, control, all of it shatters in a single sentence. But what happens when the woman you destroyed returns not for revenge, but for something far more dangerous? What happens when she no longer needs you, but your children do? Kang Min-ho didn't believe in ghosts. But the woman standing at the entrance of his family's private dining hall looked like one, risen from a past he had buried with intention. Seo Ji-won. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to exist in this world anymore. 5 years ago, he had walked away from her without explanation, without closure, because his father had demanded it. She's a distraction. She makes you weak. And Min-ho, desperate to prove himself worthy of the empire, had obeyed. But now she stood before him, not broken, not pleading. She was composed, elegant, and terrifyingly calm. And she wasn't alone. 2 children stood on either side of her, a boy and a girl, 4 years old, dark hair, eyes that mirrored his own. The room fell silent. His mother's chopsticks clattered against porcelain. His father's jaw tightened. His younger brother stared, wide-eyed. Ji-won's voice was steady. These are your children, Min-ho, Ji-hoon, and Ji-ah. Min-ho's throat closed. He felt the weight of every eye in the room, his family, his inner circle, the subordinates who worshipped his authority, all of it crumbling. I don't know what game you're playing, he said coldly, but this isn't the place. No? Ji-won tilted her head. Then where is the place? The back alley where you left me? The apartment I had to leave because I couldn't afford it? Or maybe the hospital where I gave birth alone? His father stood. Enough, but Ji-won didn't flinch. I'm not here to beg. I'm here to tell you the truth. You abandoned me while I was pregnant. You never asked why I stopped calling. You never looked back. Min-ho's fists clenched. I didn't know. And whose fault is that? The question hung in the air like a blade. His mother's voice cut through. If they are his children, we will handle this privately. Not here. Not like this. Ji-won met her gaze without fear. I tried privately. I sent letters. I called. I was ignored. So now I'm done being quiet. She turned to leave, her children's hands in hers. Min-ho's voice cracked. Wait. She stopped. But she didn't turn around. Why now? He asked. Ji-won glanced over her shoulder. Because they started asking about you, and I refused to lie to them anymore. The door closed behind her. And Min-ho realized for the first time in his life that power meant nothing if you couldn't protect the people who mattered. Min-ho didn't sleep that night. He sat in his office, surrounded by silence and the ghosts of his choices. His father had summoned him at dawn, and Min-ho knew what was coming. Kang Do-yeon didn't raise sons. He forged weapons. And weapons didn't have weaknesses. You will deny them, his father said the moment Min-ho entered the study. No greeting, no preamble. They're my children. They are leverage. And if you acknowledge them, you make them targets. You make her a target. Min-ho's jaw tightened. She's already a target. She walked into our home. Everyone saw. Then you fix it. You discredit her. You make her disappear. Like I did 5 years ago? Do-yeon's eyes narrowed. You were weak then. I expect better now. Min-ho felt the weight of the family crest on the wall behind his father, a symbol of blood, loyalty, and sacrifice. He had spent his entire life proving he was worthy of it. But now, the cost felt too high. I won't hurt her again. Then you're not the son I raised. The words landed like a blow, but Min-ho stood his ground. Maybe I'm not. Meanwhile, across the city, Ji-won sat in her small apartment, watching her children sleep. Ji-hoon clutched a worn stuffed tiger. Ji-ah's tiny fingers curled around her blanket. They looked so peaceful, so innocent. She had worked 3 jobs to give them this life. She had built herself from nothing. No family, no support, no safety net. And she had done it without him. But now, the truth was out. And she didn't know if that made her brave or reckless. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to talk. Alone. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. I'll send the address. Ji-won stared at the message. She knew it was from him. Part of her wanted to refuse, to make him suffer the way she had suffered. But another part, the part that still remembered the boy he used to be, wanted to hear what he had to say. She typed back, 1 hour. And if you're late, I leave. The next evening. Min-ho arrived early. He had chosen a private lounge, away from prying eyes. Neutral ground. When Ji-won walked in, she looked different than she had at the dinner. Softer. Tired. Human. You came, he said quietly. I said I would. They sat across from each other, the silence heavy. I didn't know. Minho finally said. About the pregnancy. About any of it. I know. He blinked. You believe me? I believe you didn't ask. I believe you chose not to know. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned. You walked away, Minho. You didn't even give me a chance to tell you. Your father didn't make that choice. You did. The truth cut deeper than any accusation. I was 27, Minho said quietly. I was trying to prove I wasn't a disappointment, that I could lead, that I could be strong. And abandoning me made you strong? No, it made me a coward. Jiwon's expression softened, just slightly. Why did you ask me here? Because I want to know them. Jihoon and Jia. I want to be their father. You can't just decide that now. I know, but I'm asking for the chance to try. Jiwon leaned back, studying him. They don't know who you are. They think you're just someone who left. I haven't told them the full truth yet. Then let me earn it. Let me prove I'm not the man who walked away. She was silent for a long moment. One mistake, Minho. One broken promise. And I take them. And you'll never see us again. He nodded. I understand. Good. Because this time, I'm not the one who needs you. They are. And if you fail them, I'll make sure you regret it. Minho had faced rival syndicates, corrupt politicians, and assassination attempts. But nothing prepared him for the terror of meeting his children as their father. Jiwon had agreed to let him visit. On her terms, neutral location, 1 hour, supervised. They met at a quiet park on a Saturday afternoon. Jihoon and Jia played on the swings while Jiwon watched from a bench. Minho stood awkwardly nearby, unsure of what to do. Go talk to them, Jiwon said flatly. What do I say? You're a crime boss. You negotiate with killers. Figure it out. Minho approached slowly. Jihoon noticed him first, his small face curious. Who are you? The boy asked. Minho crouched down to his level. My name is Minho. I'm a friend of your mother's. Are you the one who made her cry? The question hit like a bullet. Minho's throat tightened. Yes, I did. And I'm very sorry. Jia peeked out from behind her brother. Mommy says sorry isn't enough sometimes. Your mother is right, Minho said quietly. Sorry is just a word. What matters is what you do after. Jihoon tilted his head. So what are you going to do? Minho looked at Jiwon, then back at the children. I'm going to try to be better, if you'll let me. Jia stepped forward, her tiny hand reaching out. Do you like tigers? Minho blinked. Tigers? She held up a small stuffed tiger, the same one he'd seen her brother holding. They're brave and strong, but they protect their families. Minho felt something crack inside his chest. Yeah, I like tigers. She smiled. It was small, uncertain, but it was real. Later that evening, Jiwon walked Minho to his car. The children were tired, happy. They had played, laughed, and for a brief moment Minho had felt like maybe, just maybe, he could be part of their world. They liked you, Jiwon said quietly. They're incredible. You raised them well. I had no choice. Minho turned to face her. I know I can't undo what I did, but I want to be here. For them. For you, if you'll let me. Jiwon crossed her arms. This isn't about me, Minho. It never was. This is about them. And if you want to be their father, you need to understand something. What? They will ask about us, about why we're not together, about why you weren't there. And when they do, I will tell them the truth. All of it. Minho nodded. I wouldn't want it any other way. Good, because I won't lie to protect you anymore. As she walked away, Minho realized that earning forgiveness wasn't about grand gestures or wealth or power. It was about showing up, every single day, even when it hurt. 3 months had passed since that first meeting in the park. 3 months of supervised visits. 3 months of Minho learning how to braid hair, how to read bedtime stories, how to answer impossible questions like, why don't you live with us? And did you stop loving mommy? 3 months of rebuilding something that had never truly existed. But in the world Minho inhabited, a world of blood debts, territorial wars, and inherited vendettas, 3 months was an eternity, and eternity had a way of catching up. The Kang family estate, private study. Kang Do-yeon stood at the window overlooking the estate gardens, his silhouette framed by the cold morning light. He didn't turn when Minho entered. You've been distracted, Do-yeon said. I've been present, Minho corrected. For them. His father's tone was sharp. You spend your weekends playing father to children who should not exist. You negotiate bedtimes instead of treaties. You've gone soft. I've become responsible. Do-yeon finally turned, his expression carved from stone. Responsibility is ensuring this family's survival, not entertaining a woman's revenge fantasy. She's not after revenge. Then what is she after? Money? Protection? A ring? Do-yeon stepped closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Or is she simply reminding you of what you threw away, so you'll be weak when it matters most? Minho held his ground. Jihoon and Jia are my children. That makes them part of this family. They are liabilities, and liabilities get people killed. The words hung in the air like a threat. If you're suggesting I abandon them again, I'm suggesting you remember who you are. Doyen's eyes were cold. The Seoul underworld doesn't respect sentiment. It respects strength. And right now, you look weak. Then they're looking at the wrong thing. Doyen's jaw tightened. You have 1 month to prove me wrong. 1 month to show me that this distraction hasn't compromised your judgment. And if I don't, then I'll make the decision for you. Jiwon's apartment, same evening. Jiwon was grading papers when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something, instinct maybe, made her pick up. Seo Jiwon? The voice was unfamiliar. Male. Cold. Who is this? Someone who wants to help you. I don't need help. You do. You just don't know it yet. A pause. Kang Minho is not the man you think he is, and his family will never let you or your children be safe. Jiwon's grip tightened on the phone. What do you want? To offer you a way out. Meet me tomorrow. 3 p.m. The cafe on Dongho Street. Come alone. And if I don't, then you'll learn the hard way what it means to be connected to the Kang family. The line went dead. Jiwon sat in silence, her heart pounding. She looked at her children sleeping in the next room, Jihoon sprawled across his bed, Jia clutching her stuffed tiger. She had fought so hard to keep them safe, to build a life that was theirs, untouchable by the shadows of Minho's world. But now those shadows were creeping closer. The next day, Dongho Street Cafe. Jiwon arrived 10 minutes early. The cafe was quiet, tucked away in a neighborhood far from her usual roots. She ordered tea she didn't drink and waited. At exactly 3 p.m., a man in his late 40s entered. Expensive suit, calm demeanor. He sat across from her without asking. Thank you for coming. I didn't come for you, Jiwon said coldly. I came for answers. The man smiled faintly. My name is Han Jasu. I represent interested parties. What parties? The kind that don't appreciate the Kang family's monopoly on Seoul's underground. He slid a folder across the table. Inside, you'll find financial records, surveillance photos, witness statements, evidence of Kang Minho's activities over the past decade. Jiwon didn't open it. Why are you showing me this? Because you're smart, and because you deserve to know who the father of your children really is. I already know who he is. Do you? Han leaned forward. Do you know about the money laundering operations? The extortion rings? The people who've disappeared because they threatened the Kang Empire? Jiwon's jaw tightened. Minho's trying to change. Men like him don't change. They adapt. They lie. They manipulate. Han's voice softened. I'm not your enemy, Ms. Seo. I'm offering you protection. A way to take your children and disappear. New identities, financial security, freedom. At what cost? Testimony. Help us dismantle the Kang family from the inside. Jiwon felt her stomach twist. You want me to betray him. I want you to protect your children. She stared at the folder. Her hands trembled. I need time to think. Han nodded. You have 3 days. After that, the offer expires. He stood, adjusting his coat. Think carefully, Mrs. Seo, because the Kang family doesn't forgive, and they don't forget. 2 days later, Minho's penthouse Minho was reviewing contracts when his head of security, Choi Yoongi, entered without knocking. We have a problem. Minho looked up. What kind? Someone's been digging into our operations. Financial audits, surveillance, witness intimidation. Yoongi placed a tablet on the desk. They're building a case. Minho scrolled through the information. His blood ran cold when he saw the final entry. Target of interest, Seo Jiwon. Status, contact established. When? Minho's voice was ice. 2 days ago, Dongho Street Cafe, she met with Han Jasu. Minho stood abruptly. Did she take the deal? We don't know. But if she does, she won't. Minho grabbed his coat. Where is she now? Home, with the children. Minho was out the door before Yoongi could say another word. Jiwon's apartment. 9 p.m. Jiwon was putting the children to bed when the doorbell rang. She glanced through the peephole. Minho. She opened the door, her expression guarded. It's late. I know. His face was tense. We need to talk. The kids are sleeping. This can't wait. Jiwon stepped into the hallway, closing the door behind her. What's wrong? Han Jasu contacted you. Her eyes widened. How did you? It doesn't matter how. What matters is that you didn't tell me. His voice cracked. Jiwon, if you're thinking about taking his offer, I haven't decided anything. You can't trust him. He's using you to get to my family. And your family is using me to control you. Jiwon shot back. Don't pretend this is about protection, Minho. Your father made it clear. I'm a problem. The kids are a problem. My father doesn't speak for me, but he controls you. Jiwon's voice broke. I've watched you try so hard to be a good father, but every time you leave, I see the weight on your shoulders, the fear in your eyes. You're terrified of what they'll do if you choose us over them. I'm not afraid. Yes, you are, and you should be. Tears streamed down her face. Because I am too. Minho reached for her, but she stepped back. I need to know, Minho. If it came down to it, if your family demanded you walk away again, would you? The silence was unbearable. I don't know, he finally whispered. Jiwon closed her eyes. Then I have my answer. She turned and walked back inside, locking the door behind her. Minho stood in the hallway, his world collapsing around him. 3 days later, the ultimatum. Jiwon had made her decision. She sat in her apartment, the folder from Han Jisoo open in front of her. Evidence, testimony, escape. Her phone buzzed. Han Jisoo. Time's up. Do we have a deal? Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Before she could respond, her door burst open. Not Minho, not Han Jisoo, Kang Doyun. He stood in the doorway, flanked by 2 men in black suits. His presence filled the room like a storm. Ms. Seo, he said calmly, we need to have a conversation. Jiwon's heart pounded. Get out of my home. This is a conversation. Doyun stepped inside, his eyes scanning the folder on her table. He picked it up, flipping through it casually. Interesting reading material.
안녕, 여러분. Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know I didn't tell everything yet. The complete version has 20 full audio episodes. No interruptions, no ads. Just the story, the emotions, and the moments I couldn't fit in here. To scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment to continue listening right now.
I don't owe you an explanation. No. But you owe my son honesty. Doyun set the folder down. You're considering betraying him, destroying everything he's built. For what? A promise of safety from a man who doesn't care if you live or die? Your family doesn't care either. You're wrong. Doyun's voice was cold. I care very much. Because if you take this deal, you'll destroy my son, and I won't allow that. Jiwon stood, her voice shaking. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you clarity. Doyun stepped closer. You think Han Jisoo will protect you? He won't. The moment you're no longer useful, you'll disappear. Your children will become collateral, and Minho will spend the rest of his life blaming himself. Then give me another option. There is no other option. You stay. You trust him. Or you run, and you lose everything. Jiwon felt tears burning her eyes. Why are you doing this? Because despite what you think, I don't want my son to lose the only thing that's ever made him human. Doyun turned toward the door. You have until midnight. Choose wisely. Midnight. The choice. Jiwon stood at her window, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. Her phone buzzed again. Han Jisoo, your time is up. Are you in or out? She looked at her children, asleep in the next room. Then she looked at the folder. And finally, she made her choice. Jiwon didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table, the folder Han Jisoo had given her, now reduced to ashes in her sink. She had burned it. Every page, every piece of evidence, every promise of escape. She had chosen Minho, or maybe she had chosen to believe in the man he was trying to become. But belief, she was learning, was a dangerous thing in a world built on betrayal. The next morning, Minho's office. Minho was on his 3rd cup of coffee when Yoongi entered, his face grim. We have a situation. Another one? Han Jisoo's dead. Minho froze. What? Found in his car this morning, single gunshot wound, clean execution. Yoongi placed a file on the desk. Our intel suggests it was a rival faction, someone who didn't appreciate him stirring up trouble with us. Minho's mind raced. Does Jiwon know? Not yet, but she will soon. The media's already picking it up. Damn it. Minho stood. I need to see her. Boss, there's more. Yoongi hesitated. Han Jisoo wasn't working alone. He had a partner, someone inside our organization. Minho's blood ran cold. Who? We don't know yet. But whoever it is, they've been feeding him information for months. Finances, operations, schedules. Yoongi's voice dropped. They knew about Jiwon. They knew about the kids. Minho felt rage boiling beneath his skin. Find them. I don't care what it takes. There's one more thing. Yoongi pulled out his phone, showing Minho a text message. This was sent to Jiwon an hour ago. Unknown number. Han is dead. You're next. Get out while you still can. Jiwon's apartment. 10 a.m. Jiwon was making breakfast when she saw the news alert on her phone. Businessman Han Jisoo found dead in suspected gang violence. Her hands trembled. The plate she was holding slipped, shattering on the floor. "Mommy?" Gia appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "What happened?" "Nothing, baby. Go back to your room. I'll clean this up." But before she could move, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Han is dead. You're next. Get out while you still can." Panic surged through her. She looked at her children, innocent, unaware, vulnerable, and she realized with terrifying clarity that she had made the wrong choice. She grabbed her phone and called Minho. He answered on the first ring. "Jiwon, someone threatened me. They said I'm next." Her voice was shaking. "Minho, I'm scared. Stay where you are. I'm sending security. Don't open the door for anyone except me." "What if they're already watching? Then they'll have to go through me first." 2 hours later, Minho's safe house. Minho had moved Jiwon and the children to one of his private safe houses, a fortified apartment in Gangnam, monitored 24/7, accessible only through encrypted elevators. Jiwon sat on the couch, Jihoon and Jia playing quietly in the next room, unaware of the danger closing in around them. Minho paced, his phone pressed to his ear. "I want every member of our inner circle investigated. Bank records, communications, movements. Someone sold us out, and I want their name by tonight." He hung up and turned to Jiwon. "You're safe here. For how long?" Her voice was hollow. "How long until your enemies find us? How long until your family decides we're too much trouble? My family won't touch you. Your father already did." Jiwon met his eyes. "He came to my apartment, Minho. He threatened me." Minho's expression darkened. "When?" 3 days ago. He told me to choose, stay and trust you, or run and lose everything. He had no right. He had every right. He's protecting his empire. And I'm the crack in the foundation." Jiwon stood, her voice breaking. "I thought I could do this. I thought I could bring my children into your world and keep them safe. But I was wrong." "You're not wrong. We'll find who's behind this. We'll stop them." "And then what? Another threat? Another enemy? Another reason for your father to remind me that I don't belong?" Tears streamed down her face. "I can't live like this, Minho. And I won't let my children live like this." "Then what do you want me to do?" Minho's voice was raw. "Walk away? Pretend they don't exist? Because I can't do that, not again. I want you to choose." Jiwon's voice was steady now, final. "Your family or us? Your empire or your children? You can't have both." The words hung between them like a guillotine. That night, the Kang estate. Minho stood before his father, his decision made. "I'm stepping down." Doyun didn't even look up from his desk. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. I'm stepping down as head of operations. I'll remain an advisor, but I'm done leading." Now Doyun looked up, his expression unreadable. Because of her. Because of them. Jihoon and Jia deserve a father who's present, who's not constantly looking over his shoulder, who doesn't wake up wondering if today's the day someone tries to kill him. "You're a coward." "Maybe. But I'm a coward who's finally choosing the right thing." Doyun stood, his voice lethal. "You think you can just walk away? That this empire will survive without you? That I'll allow you to disgrace this family for a woman and 2 children who should never have been born?" Minho's jaw tightened. "They exist, and they're mine, and I won't abandon them again. Then you leave me no choice." Doyun pressed a button on his desk. The door opened, and 2 armed men entered. "What are you doing?" Minho demanded. "Ensuring this family's survival." Doyun's voice was cold. "You'll remain here, under house arrest, until you come to your senses. You can't do this. I can, and I will, because unlike you, I understand sacrifice." Doyun turned his back. "Take him to the East Wing. No visitors, no communications." As the guards moved toward him, Minho's phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from Yoongi. "We found the mole. It's Junseo." Minho's world stopped. Junseo, his younger brother. Flashback, 3 months ago. Junseo sat in a dimly lit bar, nursing a whiskey. Across from him, Han Jisoo smiled. "You're sure about this?" Han asked. "I'm sure." Junseo's voice was bitter. "My entire life, I've been the spare, the backup, the one who wasn't good enough. But Minho, he gets everything. The respect, the power, the legacy. And now he's distracted, weak, and I'm going to use that to take what should have been mine." Han raised his glass. "To new beginnings." Junseo clinked his glass against Han's. "To the fall of Kang Minho. Present, the safe house." Jiwon's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Jiwon." The voice was familiar, younger, desperate. "Junseo? I don't have much time. Minho's in danger. My father's locked him up. And His voice cracked. "I'm the one who sold him out. I'm the mole." Jiwon felt ice flood her veins. Why are you telling me this? Because I was wrong. I was angry and I thought destroying him would fix everything, but it won't. And now people are going to die because of me. A pause. Including you and your kids. What do you mean? Han's partners don't care that he's dead. They want the Kang family destroyed. And the easiest way to do that is through you. Where are they? Close. Too close. You need to run. Now. I can't. Minho's security. Minho's security works for my father. And my father's decided you're a threat. Junseo's voice broke. I'm so sorry. For everything. But you need to go. Take the kids and disappear. I'll buy you time. The line went dead. Jiwon stood frozen, her mind racing. Then she heard it. Footsteps. In the hallway outside the safe house. She ran to the children's room. Jihoon, Jia, wake up. We need to go. Now. At 10 minutes later, the escape. Jiwon held her children's hands as they slipped through the building's service exit. Her heart pounded. Every shadow looked like a threat. Every sound like a gunshot. They made it to the street. She hailed a cab. Where to? The driver asked. She gave him an address, an old friend's place, someone from before Minho, before everything fell apart. As the cab pulled away, she looked back at the building, and she saw him, Minho, standing at the window of his cell in the Kang estate, watching the city lights, unable to reach her, unable to save her. 72 hours. That's how long Minho had been locked in the east wing of the Kang estate. 72 hours of staring at the same four walls, the same locked door, the same iron bars on the windows that turned his childhood home into a prison. No phone, no communications, no way to reach Jiwon or his children. He had tried everything. Reasoning with the guards, men he had trained, men he had led into battle, bribing them, threatening them. But his father's orders were absolute, and the penalty for disobedience was death. So Minho waited, and in the silence, he replayed every decision that had led him here. Every time he had chosen duty over love. Every time he had convinced himself that power and protection were the same thing. Every time he had looked at Jiwon and his children and thought, I can have both worlds. But the truth was brutal and simple. You couldn't serve two masters. You couldn't build an empire on blood and expect to come home clean. His father visited once, on the second night. He stood in the doorway like a judge delivering a sentence, his silhouette framed by the hallway light. You'll thank me one day, Doyun had said, his voice devoid of warmth, when you realize I saved you from yourself. Saved me? Minho had laughed bitterly. You've locked me away from the only thing that ever mattered. What matters is legacy. What matters is ensuring this family survives another generation. Doyun stepped closer, his eyes cold. That woman, those children, they're anchors, Minho. And anchors drown you. They're my family. They're distractions. And distractions get people killed. Doyun turned to leave. 3 days. That's how long you'll stay here. 3 days to remember who you are, what you were born to be. And if I don't? Doyun paused at the threshold. Then I'll make the decision for you. Permanently. The door closed. The lock turned. And Minho understood with crystalline clarity that his father would rather see him dead than weak. Meanwhile, across the city, Jiwon sat in her friend Hana's cramped apartment, her children asleep on a makeshift bed of cushions and borrowed blankets. She hadn't slept in 2 days. Every creak of the building made her jump. Every car engine outside made her reach for her phone. She kept replaying Junseo's warning in her mind. Han's partners don't care that he's dead. They want the Kang family destroyed. And the easiest way to do that is through you. Hana handed her a cup of tea she didn't drink. You can't stay here long. If they're really looking for you, I know. Jiwon's voice was hollow. But I don't know where else to go. What about Minho? Minho's trapped. His own family's keeping him from us. She closed her eyes, exhaustion weighing on every word. I thought I could do this. I thought I could bring my children into his world and keep them safe. But I was wrong. So wrong. You're not wrong. You're just naive, stupid. Jiwon's voice cracked. I should have taken Han's deal. I should have run when I had the chance. New identities, fresh start. But I believed Minho could change. That love could be enough. It still can be. Can it? Jiwon opened her eyes, tears streaming down her face. Look where that belief got me. Hiding in a stranger's apartment. My children sleeping on the floor, waiting for men with guns to find us. Hana sat beside her, her voice fierce. You're not helpless, Jiwon. You survived 4 years alone with twins. You built a life for those kids without anyone's help. You worked 3 jobs. You put yourself through night school. You became someone who didn't need Kang Minho to survive. But now I need him to keep us alive. No, you need him to choose you. There's a difference. Hana gripped her hand. And if he doesn't? You do what you've always done. You fight, you survive, You protect your children. Jiwon looked at Jihoon and Jia, their small faces peaceful in sleep. They looked like their father, the same dark eyes, the same stubborn chin, the same quiet strength that radiated even in rest. She had spent 4 years telling herself she didn't need Minho, that she was better off alone. That love was a luxury she couldn't afford. But watching him with their children these past 3 months, teaching Jihoon how to ride a bike, braiding Jia's hair with clumsy but determined fingers, reading bedtime stories with voices for every character, she had started to believe again, not in the man he had been, but in the man he was trying to become. I can't run, Jiwon said quietly. Not anymore. Not from this. Then what are you going to do? I'm going to stop hiding. I'm going to face them, and I'm going to make them understand that I'm not some pawn they can threaten or control. Her voice steadied. I'm the mother of Kang Minho's children. That makes me part of this family, whether they like it or not. Hana smiled. Now you sound like someone who can survive this world. The Kang estate, night of the 3rd day. Minho sat in darkness, his mind racing through every possible scenario, every potential move, every path to freedom. He had spent years learning how to think like a strategist, how to anticipate his enemies, how to turn weakness into strength. But right now, locked in a room with no allies and no weapons, he felt more powerless than ever. The door opened. Minho tensed, expecting his father or another lecture from one of the family elders. Instead, Yoongi slipped inside, his face tense, his movements quick. I don't have much time, Yoongi whispered, glancing over his shoulder. Your father's security is everywhere. I told them I was delivering food. We have maybe 3 minutes. How did you get past them? Bribed the right people, called in favors. But boss, we need to move fast. Yoongi pulled out a phone. Jiwon's safe, for now. She's hiding with a friend in Mapo district, but that won't last long. There are people looking for her. Minho exhaled in relief, then immediately felt the weight of new fear. Who's looking for her? Han Jisu's partners and... Yoongi hesitated. Your father's men. What? He put out an order, not to harm her, but to contain the situation, which in his language means force her to disappear, make her a non-issue. Minho's fists clenched. He's going to make her vanish. Not if we get you out first. Yoongi handed him the phone. There's something else you need to know. Junseo. What about him? He's the mole. He's been working with Han Jisoo for months, feeding him information, setting you up. Yoongi's voice was grim. And after he tipped off Jiwon, he disappeared. But we tracked him. He's planning something. Something big. Minho felt rage and betrayal collide in his chest. His brother, his own blood. Why would he? Jealousy, resentment. He felt like you took everything that should have been his. Yoongi pulled out a second phone. But boss, there's more. Your father's planning a meeting tomorrow night. All the major players. The rival factions. He's positioning himself to consolidate power while you're locked up. Where's the meeting? Old Harbor District, the warehouse by the docks. He's going to announce a unified empire, under his control. Minho's mind raced. If he succeeds, you'll never get out of here. He'll have the backing of every major syndicate in Seoul. You'll be a liability, and liabilities in this world don't live long. Then I need to be at that meeting. How? You're locked in. Guards everywhere, cameras, alarms. Yoongi leaned closer. Unless what? Yoongi smiled grimly. Unless you trust me to do something insane. The escape, 24 hours later. The plan was brilliant in its simplicity and terrifying in its execution. A staged medical emergency. Yoongi bribed the estate's doctor to report that Minho had collapsed, possible internal bleeding. A fake ambulance, complete with forged hospital documents and medics who owed Yoongi their lives. The guards were suspicious, but the doctor's panic and the urgency of the situation overrode their caution. They couldn't risk the heir dying on their watch. By the time Kang Doyeon received word and rushed to the East Wing, Minho was already gone, speeding through Seoul's nighttime traffic in the back of a commandeered delivery van. Where to, boss? Yoongi asked from the driver's seat. Jiwon. I need to see Jiwon. The meeting's in 4 hours. I don't care about the meeting. I need to see my family first. Yoongi didn't argue. He understood. Some things were more important than empires. Hana's apartment, 6 p.m. Jiwon was helping Jia draw pictures when she heard the knock. 3 quick taps, a pause, then 2 more. Yoongi's signal. She opened the door and nearly collapsed when she saw him. Minho. He looked exhausted, his clothes rumpled, his face drawn, but his eyes were alive with relief and fear and love. Minho? He didn't let her finish. He crossed the threshold and pulled her into his arms, holding her like she might disappear if he let go. I'm sorry, he whispered into her hair. I'm so sorry. For everything. For leaving you. For bringing you into this world. For not protecting you the way I should have. Jiwon felt tears streaming down her face. You're here now. That's what matters. Daddy! Jihoon and Jia ran out from the other room, their faces lighting up. Minho dropped to his knees, opening his arms as they crashed into him. I missed you, Jihoon said, his voice muffled against Minho's chest. I missed you both so much. Minho kissed the tops of their heads, his voice breaking. And I'm not leaving again, I promise. You can't promise that, Jiwon said quietly. Your father? My father doesn't control me anymore. Minho stood, his hands on his children's shoulders. I'm done choosing his empire over you, over them, over the life I want to build. What are you going to do? I'm going to end this. Tonight. Once and for all. Jiwon felt fear grip her heart. Minho, you can't just... I can, and I will. He took her hands. But first, I need you to promise me something. What? If something goes wrong tonight, if I don't come back, you take the kids and you run. Don't look back. Don't wait for me. Just go. No. I'm not losing you again. Jiwon, no. Her voice was fierce. We're in this together now, for better or worse. You don't get to play hero and shut me out. Minho looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the woman he had fallen in love with years ago. Not fragile, not helpless, strong, unbreakable. Then come with me, he said. What? To the meeting. I want them to see you. I want them to see what I'm fighting for. He cupped her face. You said I needed to choose. Family or empire. So I'm choosing. Right in front of them. And I want you there when I do. Jiwon's breath caught. That's insane. Maybe. But it's the truth. He kissed her forehead. Will you come? She looked at their children, then back at him. Yes. And the Harbor District. 9:45 p.m. The warehouse smelled of salt and rust and old blood. It was the kind of place where empires were built and destroyed, where men made deals in shadows and washed their hands of consequences. Kang Doyan stood at the center of the space, surrounded by Seoul's most dangerous men, rival bosses, syndicate leaders, power brokers who controlled everything from the docks to the political elite. The lighting was dim, strategic, faces half hidden, weapons concealed but understood. Gentlemen, Doyan began, his voice commanding the room, we stand at a crossroads. For decades, our families have fought over scraps, territory, profit, respect. We've bled each other dry over pride and old grudges. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled men. But what if we stopped fighting and started building? Doyan continued. A unified front, one empire, one vision, no more territorial wars, no more bloodshed over petty disputes, just power, real power. And who would lead this empire? Park Sang-woo, head of the Busan Syndicate, asked skeptically. Do-yoon smiled. I would. With your support, of course. And your son? Another boss interjected. Where is the great Kang Minho? I heard he's been indisposed. My son, Do-yoon said coldly, has proven himself unfit to lead. Distracted by personal matters, weakened by sentiment. He's lost sight of what matters. And what matters? Park challenged. Power, legacy, survival. Is that so? Every head turned. Minho stood at the entrance, his presence commanding immediate attention. Yoongi flanked his right side, armed and alert. And on his left, Jiwon. She walked with her head high, her hand in Minho's, her expression calm but defiant. The room fell silent. Do-yoon's expression hardened. You're supposed to be locked up. I was, Minho said evenly. But unlike you, father, I don't believe in cages. Not for me, not for anyone. He walked forward, Jiwon beside him until they stood in the center of the room, surrounded by killers, criminals, and men who had built their fortunes on violence. Gentlemen, Minho addressed the assembled bosses, my father's right about one thing. We do stand at a crossroads. But his vision, a unified empire under his absolute control, is a lie wrapped in ambition. Careful, boy, one of the bosses growled. You're speaking to men who've built kingdoms. And I'm speaking to men who are tired, Minho shot back. Tired of war, tired of losing soldiers, territory, and profit because of pride. Tired of looking over their shoulders every day, wondering if today's the day someone puts a bullet in their back. Silence. But it was the silence of recognition. My father wants unity through domination, Minho continued. I'm offering you unity through respect, through mutual benefit, through something this world has forgotten, honor. And what makes you think we'd follow you? Park asked, genuinely curious now. Because I'm willing to do what he won't. Minho took a breath. Step down. The room erupted in shock and confusion. Do-yoon's voice cut through the noise like a blade. What did you say? I'm stepping down as heir to the Kang family. I'm walking away from this empire. But before I do, I'm offering you something my father never will. Freedom. Minho turned to face the assembled men. No more territorial wars. No more blood feuds. We divide Seoul fairly. We operate independently, but with mutual respect and shared rules. We stop killing each other over pride and start protecting our own. You're insane, Doyun hissed. Maybe, but I'm also free. Free from the weight of a legacy I never wanted. Free from the constant fear that my family will be targeted because of who I am. Minho's voice broke slightly. I have a family now, a real family, and they're worth more than any throne. He gestured to Jiwon. This is Seo Jiwon, the mother of my children, the woman I abandoned 5 years ago because I was too much of a coward to stand up to you, father. Doyun's jaw tightened. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I'm telling the truth. For the first time in my life. Minho looked at Jiwon, then back at the men. I have twin children, Jihoon and Jia. They're 4 years old. They like tigers and bedtime stories and ice cream. And they deserve a father who comes home every night, not one who dies in a warehouse over territory disputes. One of the younger bosses stepped forward. And if we agree to this, what happens to the Kang Empire? It remains. Under new leadership. Minho looked at Yoongi. Someone who actually wants this life. Someone who's earned it. Yoongi's eyes widened. Boss, you've been loyal to me for 15 years. You've bled for this family. You've saved my life more times than I can count. And you've earned the right to lead. Minho placed a hand on his shoulder. It's yours, if you want it. Yoongi was silent for a long moment, his throat working. Then he nodded, his voice rough. I do. And I'll honor what you're building here. Then it's done. Doyun stepped forward, his face twisted in rage and disbelief. You think you can just give away what I built? What generations of Kangs bled for? What I sacrificed everything to create? You built it, father, but you forgot what it was supposed to protect. Minho met his father's eyes without flinching. Family. You taught me that power was everything. That sentiment was weakness. That love was a liability. But you were wrong. I was wrong? Doyun's voice was dangerously quiet. I turned you from a weak, emotional boy into a leader, into someone men feared and respected. You turned me into a ghost, Minho said quietly. Someone who existed but didn't live. Someone who had everything but felt nothing. He looked at Jiwon again. Until them, they reminded me what it means to be human. Then you're no son of mine. The words should have hurt. Once they would have destroyed him. But now Minho felt only relief. Good, he said simply. Because I don't want to be. He turned to the assembled bosses. Gentlemen, you have a choice. Follow my father's path. Consolidate under his control. Continue the wars. Watch your men die for territory. Or accept my proposal. Independent operations with mutual respect. Shared rules. No interference. Peace. Park Sang-woo stepped forward first. I'm tired of burying my soldiers. I support the proposal. Another boss nodded. As do I. The boy's right. We're all tired. One by one, voices rose in agreement. Not all of them. Some remained loyal to Doyun, but enough. More than enough. Doyun stood alone in the center of the room, his empire crumbling around him, his son walking away. Where are you going? Doyun called after him, his voice hollow. Minho didn't look back. His hand found Jiwon's. Home. 3 months later, a new life. The apartment was small. 2 bedrooms, a cramped kitchen, a living room that doubled as a playroom. Nothing like the Kang estate with its marble halls and ancient artwork, but it was theirs. Jiwon stood at the stove making breakfast while Jihoon and Jia set the table with mismatched plates and plastic cups. Minho emerged from the bedroom, his hair still damp from the shower, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt. No designer suits, no bodyguards, no weight of empire on his shoulders. He wrapped his arms around Jiwon from behind, kissing her neck. Morning. Morning. She leaned into him, smiling. Sleep okay? Better than I have in years. He paused. Happy? She turned in his arms, studying his face. Getting there. You? I am. He kissed her forehead. For the first time in my life, I actually am. No regrets. Only one. He cupped her face. That I didn't do this sooner? That I wasted 5 years being someone I wasn't? You're doing it now. That's what matters. Daddy! Jia ran over, tugging on his sleeve. Can we go to the park after breakfast? Please? Of course. He lifted her onto his shoulders. Jihoon, you coming? Yeah. The boy grabbed his jacket, his face bright with excitement. Minho worked now as a consultant, helping businesses navigate complex negotiations, resolve disputes. Legal work, legitimate work. It paid the bills, it gave him purpose, and most importantly, it let him come home every night. Jiwon had gone back to school, finishing her degree. She wanted to be a teacher. She wanted to help children who came from broken places. Children like she had been. They weren't rich. They weren't powerful. They weren't untouchable. But they were free. And they were together. That evening, the breaking point. They returned from the park at sunset. Jihoon and Jia exhausted and happy, their cheeks pink from running. Minho carried them both up the stairs, one on each arm, while Jiwon unlocked the door. The apartment was dark. Too dark. Minho's instincts, honed by years in the underworld, immediately kicked in. He handed the children to Jiwon. Take them to the bedroom. Lock the door. Minho, now. She didn't argue. She gathered the children and disappeared down the hallway. Minho stepped inside, his eyes adjusting to the darkness. And then he saw him. Junseo. His brother sat in the living room, illuminated by the faint glow of the city lights through the window. He looked different, thinner, haunted, his eyes hollow with something Minho couldn't quite name. Hello, brother, Junseo said quietly. How did you get in? I still have skills. I haven't forgotten everything father taught us. Junseo gestured to the couch. Sit, we need to talk. About how you betrayed me? How you worked with Han Jisoo to destroy everything? About why? Junseo's voice cracked. About what you never saw. What no one saw. Minho remained standing. You have 2 minutes. Then I'm calling Yoongi. Yoongi. Junseo laughed bitterly. Of course. Even he got what I never could. Respect. Trust. A place at the table. He earned it. And I didn't? Junseo stood, his voice rising. I spent my entire life in your shadow, Minho. The spare heir, the backup son, the one who wasn't good enough. Do you know what that does to a person? So you tried to destroy me. I tried to be seen. Junseo's composure shattered. Just once I wanted father to look at me the way he looked at you, to believe in me the way he believed in you. But it didn't matter what I did, how hard I worked, how loyal I was. You were always the chosen one. I never wanted that, Minho said quietly. I never wanted any of it. And that's what made it worse. You had everything I wanted and you threw it away. For what? For her? For children you didn't even know existed? Junseo's voice broke. You had the empire, the respect, the legacy, and you just walked away. Like it meant nothing. It meant everything, that's why I left. Because I finally understood what actually mattered. Then you're a fool. Maybe. But I'm a free fool. Minho stepped closer. Why are you here, Junseo? To gloat? To threaten? To finish what you started? Junseo pulled out a file from his jacket. Thick, heavy, full of documents. I'm here to give you this. Minho didn't take it. What is it? Everything. Every secret. Every crime. Every skeleton in the Kang family closet. Junseo's hands trembled, including the one father never wanted you to know. What are you talking about? Your mother. Our mother. She didn't die in childbirth like father told you. She tried to leave. She tried to take you and run. Junseo's eyes glistened. And father killed her for it. The words hit Minho like a physical blow. You're lying. I wish I was. But it's all in there. Police reports, hospital records, witness statements father buried with money and threats. Junseo's voice shook. She tried to escape his world, just like you did, and it cost her everything. Minho felt the ground shift beneath him. His mother, the woman he'd never known, the ghost that had haunted his childhood. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm done. Junseo set the file on the table. Done with the revenge, done with the anger, done with destroying myself trying to be you. He moved toward the door. And because you deserve to know the truth about who father really is, what he's capable of. Where are you going?
If you made it to the end, you already understand this isn't just another story. What you watched here is only a fragment. The full experience lives in 20 complete audio episodes, carefully told, with every detail, every emotion, every turning point. There are no ads, no interruptions, and nothing was removed like it is on YouTube. You can listen anytime on your phone with total privacy, inside the members-only area. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment to unlock the full story and continue listening immediately.
Away. Far away. Somewhere father can't find me. Somewhere I can finally breathe. Junseo paused at the threshold. I'm sorry, Minho, for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm sorry. And then he was gone. Minho stood alone in the darkness, staring at the file. Behind him, he heard Jiwon emerge from the bedroom. Minho? What happened? Who was that? He didn't answer. He picked up the file with trembling hands, and as he opened it, his entire world shifted, because inside wasn't just evidence of his father's crimes. Inside was something far more dangerous, proof that Kang Doyan had ordered the hit on Han Jisu, proof that he'd orchestrated the threats against Jiwon, proof that he'd been planning to eliminate his own son, and proof of something else, something that changed everything. Documents showing that Ji-hoon and Ji-ah weren't just Minho's children. They were heirs to something far more powerful than the Kang Empire. A bloodline connected to one of Korea's most influential political families. A family that had been searching for them. A family that would stop at nothing to claim them. Minho's hands shook as he read the final page. A DNA report that proved Jiwon's maternal grandfather was Senator Seo Dong-min, one of the most powerful men in the country. A man who had disowned Jiwon's mother for marrying beneath her station. A man who had never known about his great-grandchildren. Until now. Because at the bottom of the page was a handwritten note in his father's handwriting. They're worth more alive than you are, my son. And soon, they'll be mine to control. Minho looked up at Jiwon, his face pale. We need to leave. Right now. Tonight. What? Why? What's in that file? Everything, he whispered. And nothing will ever be the same. What is Kang Doyan planning? Who is Senator Seo Dong-min? And why does he want Ji-hoon and Ji-ah? What bloodline secret has been hidden for decades? And how far will a grandfather go to claim the heirs he never knew existed? If this video hits 4K views plus 20 comments today, I drop episode 02 tonight. Don't just watch, subscribe. Because what's coming next will destroy everything you thought you knew about this family. Warning. Episode 02 will reveal the truth about Jiwon's mother's death, Senator Seo's real motives, Kang Doyan's final plan, and a betrayal no one will see coming. The bloodline war has only just begun.